What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? So, it's been a minute. I know. But I'm going to get into it. This is going to be for breaking down Psalms 2 cuz I already did 1. And we're going to be looking at it in the context of having your prayers answered by being able to break it down and understand what it means, on top of using it. My legs are so yellow, y'all. Using it for spell work. So I will timestamp it for those that just want to get to the latter part of being able to use it in your spell work. So I guess we can just get to it. All right. So first, what I'm going to do, I'm going to read through it and talk about it. All right. And I always like to refer to my notes, but I'll probably go more in detail with it. But hopefully you guys can hear me okay. As y'all can see, my Bible is pretty tattered and very used. Okay, very used. I've had this thing since not thing, but I've had this Bible since I was like 15, and absolutely love this Bible for various reasons. But okay, so we're getting into Psalm 2. God, I'm hot. That fan is not. It's kind of humid today. Okay, so Psalm 2 is basically for uh, destroying your enemies and also for relieving tension. But right now we're going to look at it in the way of being able to have your prayers answered by understanding the context in which it is speaking about. So, Psalm 2. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Now, let's get into this. Okay. So, when we are going through, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Now, if you remember what I said for Psalm 1, the heathen represents that negative mindset, okay? Because we're not dealing with an individual or individuals specifically. We are talking about a mindset, those thoughts, okay? Those thoughts in us that are negative and just kind of run them up. They just go everywhere. Almost like, I don't know, sometimes we can have these thoughts that seem to just be very chaotic, very irrational, out of control, if you will. So when it says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Well, you would be considered the people. So that's kind of self explanatory. Um, and vain is something that is only befitting for you. It's how can I say? Um, it only serves you. It's like only thinking in regards to yourself. It's not going to serve anyone else. It doesn't serve anyone else but you. It's like always having the focal point on you. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, um, I had a text come in, sorry. Um, so when you think about how these thoughts kind of go on, they're not benefiting you. Um, when you can't, people imagining a vain thing, this is when you really can't stop thinking of the things that are negative, that don't benefit you. Um, it serves no real purpose, no true purpose, okay? Um, the kings of the earth, this is the ego mind. Um, that part of you that tries to keep you safe, it's almost like that part that is programmed and it's set and it doesn't like you to deviate from script, okay? So the ego mind is the thing that's actually going to mess you up, and it's going to bring in a whole bunch of different thoughts, basically because if you're trying to change it to do something different, it's always going to try to bring you back to that same place. Let's see. Okay. When we look at, and that's, if you didn't get it, the kings of the earth is the ego mind, okay? Um, where is the other one? Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. So that's kind of self explanatory if you understand heathens and the kings of the earth and imagining a vain thing. It's like you want to break free from those negative thoughts that are keeping you bound. Okay. Um, he that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. So, your mind, your higher self, would be considered um, the he that sits in the heavens. Now, I know that this is going to be like kind of hard for some people to take, but you have to understand that a lot of the ways of how this is written, you can't take it literally, okay? Because it is written symbolically and allegorically. All right. Um, it's really windy outside and it's raining. So, your higher self is sovereign, and you have to understand that you basically are the chosen one. Okay. Um, it's going to laugh because your higher self is that higher awareness that actually knows who it is. It knows who you are. It understands the power that you have and how powerful you are, and who you actually are. It's like someone who's a movie star or singer or whatever, someone that's like a star. Someone can come up to them and try to uh, act like, impersonate them and act like they are them. But that person that is the original, that actually knows who they are, they're going to laugh at that individual in a sense, like jest, because it's like, okay, you're sitting up here trying to pass as me, but you can't. Like, I know the power that I have, I know who I am. And that's basically who you have to, how you have to be. Understand the power that you have and the control that you have. And when you know the power that you have, it should be easy for you. I won't say easy, but it should be um, less challenging for you to be able to take control of a situation. So your higher self of awareness is going to laugh at the ego because it actually knows the power that it has, okay? And because source, ultimate source, has given us that power because we are chosen, then that makes it even more powerful, if you will, to know your place and to know exactly who you are. No one can tell you that you are someone different if you know that you come from a certain family. Someone can say, no, you're such and such, and you're like, no, like, I know who I am. I know who my parents are, so it's like that. Understanding the place that you have as uh, a demigod, if you will, or a version of God. And so knowing this, you then have to be able to know how to take control of those those thoughts, okay? Um, all the thoughts that you all the thoughts that may try to overpower you basically have no power, because we have been granted power over our minds. We have that ability to take control of our thoughts, whether you believe it or not. All right. I like to go through my notes as well. Okay. Okay, so this is one of the other things too. Um, the true higher self understands that the ego mind tries to divide us, and so the higher self would kind of step in to show its authority. Okay, 5, when it says, then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. It's like when light comes, darkness flees. Uh, my mind just went somewhere. Um, Darkness cannot stay in the place where there is light. Okay, so that's the vexation, I guess you could say. Um, when the light comes, it's vexing to that which is dark. When the higher awareness comes, it's able to dispel all of those negative thoughts of the ego mind. Okay, so the holy hill of Zion, yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. So Zion is that most, the top part, that highest point um, in our minds, and it's the highest place of awareness. And so the highest place of your consciousness or conscious mind, those thoughts that go higher. When you think about um, the hill, this is the pinnacle, okay, the highest place. And so Zion is considered that highest place in your mind, somewhere that is set on high. um, you're not going to think low when you want to do something that's, I guess, really worth doing, something that is of goodness. You're going to go for something that is high, that is elevated. And so that's going to that higher place of awareness um, in our minds. That's that portion or that part of us that is exalted. Okay. Um, Sometimes it does take effort, but when you to get to that part, because we don't always want to think from a higher point of view or an elevated point of view. And it's just like a hill. Like sometimes, like if you are used to going mountain climbing, bike riding, like up hills, anything that's on that incline, even walking up an incline, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. You're going to have to put in some effort for it. So when it talks about it's upon my holy hill of Zion, it's up. So taking the time to actually, how can I say this? Taking the time to actually put effort into going there and pushing your thoughts up, not always going to that lower place. It's like when people say, when they go low, you go high. Some people go low, they go lower. But you want to push your mind to that highest point, that highest place, and that's what would be considered Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. So you're the son, and um, let me see something. You are the son, and understanding if God is declaring this, God lives outside of time, right? And so because God or source, infinite wisdom, lives outside of time, when this day is declared, it means always. Because one, we only have the day that we are living in, which is now the present time. But any time that happens, it's always going to be declaring that particular time or that specific moment, because there is no, for us, there really is no other time. Source or infinite wisdom lives outside of that. So when this day is declared, is basically saying that whenever, it's always. Okay, and so infinite intelligence is giving you this particular time, um, and is basically saying that you are the son, because infinite wisdom has created you. So he's actually telling you who you are and giving you insight and understanding of knowing who you are. This is like, as a child, if you don't know who you are, and your parents, like some parents will say the last name, like you're a such and such, and that name means something. So you don't want to bring disgrace or shame to the family name. So understanding who you are, because infinite wisdom has declared who you are, you need to stand in that and know and understand exactly, this is who I am, and knowing that that name bears weight. Being a son or child of God, it's like act accordingly, okay? Um, then when it comes to ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So wisdom is, infinite wisdom is saying, if you ask me, I will then give you the control over those raging thoughts, okay, over those things that are running amok, because I only want good things for you. Um, Anything that I can give to you that will benefit you is what I want to give you. But in order for you to have it, you first have to ask. Some people don't ask, and they don't want to have control over those raging thoughts. They might think that they can't have control over those raging thoughts, but they actually can. And so when infinite wisdom is saying, all you have to do is ask me and I will give it to you, I will give you that control. When you know or you see that these things are going on like this, just ask, and I will hand them over to you. I will, give you power basically over them. Um so now what once worked against you can work for you, and the ego um makes efforts to have you stuck and messed up, but infinite intelligence is going to give you that control over those things. And then it's also going to give you the uttermost parts of the earth for your possession. So, depending on um, what we can think, we can receive it. A lot of people believe that what's around us is heaven or hell, like it's a state of mind, heaven and hell. And so, if you are asking for those things that are good, that's what you're going to receive. And you're going to actually see how those things can work for you. The thoughts that we have that might be raging can actually be bound to us. And I don't want to say it like, I might be saying this wrong. Um, Not bound to us, meaning that they're binded to us, but we can bind them. We can have that control over them so that we can get those things to actually work for us in our favor. Let's see my other notes here. So the all right, where is it? The earth for thy possessions. Doo-doo-doo. The uttermost parts of the earth for thy possessions. So these would be the things that you may be trying to manifest, the extra. When it comes to whatever it is that you need, having control over your mind, that's one thing. But then it's also needing to have that power and control over your mind so that you can not just have this under control, but understand that whatever it is that's out here is first, it's in here, and it gets projected out here. So you'll be able to have control over here of your mind, right? The heathen, the raging thoughts, so that then the uttermost parts are those things that you are trying to actually manifest and have in your life. If you have, like, when you look at your surroundings, the world around you, that's the world that you created. And if it's not befitting to what it is that you desire, that means that there has to be something that has to change in here. Okay, the thoughts that you have, the way that you are creating, and infinite wisdom will give you that power to take control over the heathen, those raging thoughts, to put them in a place where they then become docile and uh, or in order, like organized and changed, so that you then can have better perspective, or a better perspective, or a change in things, because there's not going to be that those thoughts that are just kind of taking you like every which way, like dividing you. Like one minute you might be good, then the next minute you're not, because that can put you in a place where you feel like you're in a living hell. So the things that you try to manifest would be considered as those uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Any other extra thing that you want, that you're trying to bring into your possession, you will be able to get. So be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. To be wise is to be able to tell those thought forms that they need to listen to what it is that you want to have happen, and to let them know that they cannot just do whatever it is that they want. They don't have that control. And this is something, again, sometimes we don't feel like we have control over our thoughts, but we actually do. But this is telling them no. Like, what I always say is, thoughts can come into your head, but you don't have to dwell on them. You can acknowledge them and say, okay, I understand that this thought came into my head, and sometimes it's not even you. Sometimes it could be a thought that's been pushed there from some outside source, some outside energy or entity. And you can tell it, no, you're going to have to go. I don't want you in my head right now. I don't want to think about you. This is what I choose to think about. And you replace that thought form with something else. That is what it is to be instructed, ye judges of the earth, because you rule. Okay, you are the one that rules yourself. You have to govern yourself, your body, your earth. Okay, and if you aren't in full possession of your thoughts, you may just kind of do whatever these thoughts are telling you to do. You know what I'm saying? When we look at people that, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but when we look at people that we say, oh, they're crazy because they might be running down the street and or eating out of garbage cans, and they're just doing wild things and raging, that's because of the I'm just giving an example, the thought process of what's going on. And sometimes we can act very irrational because we've allowed our minds to take us there, our thoughts to take us there. And it's like, no, I'm going to take control of my minds, because whatever it is that you think, the body usually follows. Okay? So serve the Lord with fear, rejoice with trembling. To fear the Lord is to have reverence. It's not to be afraid, but it's to give reverence to the Lord. And rejoicing is just giving that praise. It's self-explanatory. It's like giving that praise for understanding who God is. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. So when it talks about lest he be angry, it's like, be careful to not allow those negative thoughts to have dominion over you and to run away and do whatever it is that they want to do. Understand that you have the power to come against those thoughts. Any thought form that is negative, it must perish. It's not going to be able to stay when you know that you have the power to get rid of it, to banish it. Okay? So that's lest he be angry and ye perish from the way. I was going to say something. The way is also that knowing of doing something that is like typical, regular, almost like a habit, like a lifestyle. So if you are making it a habit or a lifestyle of thinking negative things, that's pretty much your way. Okay? But what we want to do is understand the power that we have and know how to push those negative thought forms away, so that we can be blessed, because it says blessed are all they that put their trust in him, putting their trust in infinite wisdom, knowing that this is where we get the source of our power and our strength. It's letting the negative thoughts, letting those negative thoughts go, and understanding how they can be healed if they come under the control of the higher mind, the higher self, because the higher self is what should always rule. And you have to remember that you are sovereign. You have to look to the higher wisdom for guidance. Okay? And that's where you want to put your source of strength. It's been like so long since I have done this, and I don't know if you guys actually understood the verses, how I see them, going through them. I think that as you go through and you read and you understand certain words and what they're actually saying, it'll be easier for you guys to be able to break down what these things are, and how to actually then use it in a way where you can get those prayers answered. So if you're looking at this one and you understand when it says, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing, it's like rewording it and saying, why does my mind go into these crazy processes of thinking irrational thoughts or wild thoughts that don't serve me? Okay. And the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. All of these thoughts are coming against me, trying to destroy me, trying to put me in a place that is not going to do me well, trying to take over, trying to act as though they are working for my benefit when they're really not. And it's working against my higher self. It's not doing anything but trying to break down my higher self, and it's not working for my good. Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. So I need to understand who I am and take control of my thoughts, and I need to cut those cords, cut those those things that tie me to those negative thoughts. So it's almost like saying that if you know that you have certain triggers that are going to bring about those thoughts, that you actually have to say, okay, if I know that this thing over here is going to trigger me to start thinking this way about something, I'm going to stop it. I'm just going to cut it off at the neck so it doesn't have life anymore. And cutting it at the neck, you're cutting off its source of air. You're cutting off its way of seeing. You're cutting off its way of speaking to you. You're cutting off its way of hearing. Whatever it would want to say to try to work in your opposition. Okay. Seeing the words and re-seeing how these words are is going to help you when it comes to looking at this, and when you're praying and you're using these verses to help you, because it really is like giving you power over your enemy, which is that ego mind, destroying that ego mind, not really destroying a person. Okay, we'll get to that. But destroying that ego mind and saying, no, I know who I am. I know that I do have the power to combat these negative thoughts that keep on coming at me. And just like when it says going to the my holy hill of Zion. It's like, okay, it might be a little challenging right now, but I'm going to climb this hill. I'm going to work diligently every day, all through the day, to make sure that I get to the point where I am only using my higher mind. I am only working by my higher self, and I'm putting down all of those negative thoughts. I'm not going to allow them to overtake me. I'm going to be consistent, and it may be, like I said, challenging. It's not always as easy when you are walking on something that's flat versus walking on something that's an incline. You know, this takes a little bit more effort to get up than this, and this has even more of an effort to get up than this, depending on how much you have raging thoughts going about, and don't have a lot of control over those thoughts. Your ego mind, you could range anywhere from here to here. Okay, and some of y'all might be like right here, to get to that highest point, which would be that holy hill of Zion, your highest pinnacle thought, your highest self, to start thinking this way, and to push down get away from all of those other negative thoughts, and then cut those cords, knowing that, if you do certain things or see certain people, go around certain people, listen to certain music, watch certain shows, read certain things, whatever, it's going to cause you to it's going to have a hold on you. So you need to cut those cords, cut those things, those binds that the cords that bind you, and let those things go. And you'll be rewarded, because the more you do it, the easier it will become. It's just a process. So again, reading through these, when you know what these words are actually talking about, like the heathen is just basically talking about your mind, the kings of the earth is um, you, and your earth being your physical body. You'll be able to like read through these and actually decipher what it's actually saying. But like I said again, hopefully, and I know this was long, but hopefully you guys were actually able to understand that. Now, um, I want to get to this other part, and this is for if you are doing any kind of magic when it comes to um, destroying your enemies, your actual enemies. Okay, so you would want to read through this whole psalm, and then what you would want to do is write your enemy's name on parchment paper, which could be like a paper bag, like brown paper, and you could go to the dollar store and buy paper bags. You can write your enemy's name on it. On like, first you want to tear it so that it's a piece of paper that's a square, and in each of the corners, the four corners, you want to write your enemy's name on the four corners, and then you want to copy verse 9 and write it in the center of the paper. So you want to write, thou shalt break them, and it's so obvious that thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. You want to make sure to write that in the center of the paper, and then you want to place it beneath a black candle. Black, again, like I said, is for protection for you. And you want to burn that candle all the way down until it burns out on its own. Now, when it's out of season, it might be a little challenging to find a black candle, but you can go somewhere like a craft store like Michael's or Joann Fabrics. They have candles in there. You can even order black candles on Amazon. One of the easiest things to be able to do is buy the black tea light candles, um, and put that under there, because it only burns for like several hours. And you want to make sure that when you are burning it, that you are doing it in a safe place. Okay. Um, but you want to do that, and you want to focus on being surrounded by protection. Okay. And that your enemies are being dispersed. They're leaving you. They don't have any kind of hold over you or anything like that. Now, if you want to use this in regards to my book, my notebook, it's just all over. If you want to use this when it comes to relieving tension, you want to read verse 12. But first you want to get some oil, like olive oil, to anoint your temples. You can put a little bit of lavender in there, which is very soothing, like just one drop with the olive oil. You can also use frankincense, myrrh, or lily of the valley. You can use that oil. You can use rose oil, and you can take that with and there are essential oils. You can use those in combination with the olive oil, and take those and gently rub it on your temples. And then you can read verse 12 for relieving tension. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. And then you just want to take some time to just focus on that verse and meditate, um, asking Source to relieve that tension that is there. So that is it. This was way too long. Way too long. I don't know if I'm going to actually keep this or do it a condensed version, but hopefully um, you guys got something out of verse Psalms 2 for both answering prayer and also using it magically. So as always, love, light, and peace.